Hello everybody, welcome to this shared discussions. This isn't necessarily a Pathfinder Plays video because it's in joint with my man Player 2, as a lot of you guys know. And we are just sitting here together talking about aspects of Dead Matter, things that we've heard about it from other people who are worried about it, things we're excited about, what is it, all these things. And so I guess just to open up for those who don't know, what is Dead Matter? What it's labeled as, obviously, is accurate. It is a roguelite, post-apocalyptic, zombie open-world survival game, essentially. And that's pretty cookie-cutter in the sense of there's only so many things you can do and so many genres, I suppose, you can create in hopes of trying to be original, you know?
Right.
But, you know, it's the way that you do that genre that will make your game stand out. And I think that Dead Matter is doing some things to make their take on the genre different. What do you think about that, Player 2?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I guess I want to start with saying, you know, I know this conversation, I feel like, it's been a long time coming for a lot of our viewers. I'm sure several of them are, you know, they've noticed our shout outs that we've mentioned to each other in a couple videos. Yeah. And I've had some of them mentioning even to me in private chat that, you know, we need to get together and do something. So here we are, forming an alliance, I guess, to talk about the latest Dead Matter information. So we're doing it. But yeah, Dead Matter for me is exactly what he was saying on touching on that. I've always followed zombie games. Zombie games have always been really big for me. I haven't been able to actually put any of them on my channel yet because nothing big has come out since I've made a channel last year. Mm-hmm. So this will be really the first big zombie game that I've covered, and I'm pretty darn excited about it. I mean, there's so many details that we've gone over, even since the last week in November last year, which is when I actually started following this game. So much has happened since then. I mean, it's almost completely different from what I've learned from then. So we're learning new stuff every day. It's getting more and more exciting as the anticipation builds, you know, especially since we're pushing back to June now, which I'm sure we will talk about within this discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah. The potential player base is growing. I mean, the Devlog 10 just came out not too long ago, and I just checked how many views it has approximately, and it probably has more because it's always delayed on the homepage, but 44,000 views the new developer vlog has. 44,000.
My gosh.
And I remember back whenever like Devlog 1, 2, 3, just, you know, few thousand in this given time period. Now they're up to 44,000. Their Discord is, what is that? Discord's over 20K or something like that. Like, there's so many people just rushing towards the game because it's fitting the needs from different facets of what people are expecting and wanting in a dream, like, you know, a zombie game that they would always fantasize about.
Right.
And I think it means a lot because zombie games always come and go, and it's been done so many different ways, from the classics like Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, and you have new ones coming out that are trying to do things differently, like Miss Survival, and you have DayZ, obviously, and Miscreated. Yeah. And so you have all these huge names and not so huge names of people trying and adjusting. And so it's kind of hard to stand out, you would think. But then you get a motivated team that literally dedicates the years of their life from just a thought and a want to hiring a crew, going through the hardships, and putting in the hours and work to make that thought an actual legit playable game. And I think that's what...
Exactly.
Yeah. That's really what's appealing to everybody, is because they're actually putting what we think and putting it legitly into a game. There's no disconnect there. Yes, there's going to be... There's bugs that we saw in the Devlog 10 and stuff, and it's not perfect. But in terms of like ambiance and sound and gunplay and animations, And the way the AI works right now with the zombies, and there's like a pseudo intelligence going on where they don't just run at you, they try to surround you. There's all these things that people think about, like, oh, you know what would be cool? And then they actually are putting those ideas into the game. And I think that's really resonating with people.
Yeah, they're really throwing a lot in there. I mean, they're actually, I've never seen a game like this where they pay so much attention to all their fans, all the people in the Discord, all the people, the questions on Twitter, Reddit. They're now on Instagram, I've seen. Their Facebook. They're everywhere, and they're listening to everything everybody's saying, and they're making changes because of it. In fact, I'd go so far as to even say that may even be partially why we're getting the delay from March to June. From what it looks like, everybody was kind of upset about the map when I first got here onto this game's hype back in late November, early December. That's when everybody found out on Discord that little leak about the map when found out it's going to be a 10x10 and a 4x4, and it's not going to be a big 20x20 kilometer map anymore. And everybody was kind of freaking out. It's like that, and that was when I first got into it. And now that the main map, the Southern Alberta map, is going to be going up to a 16x16 kilometer instead of being, starting at a 10x10, and that's starting at, as well as the 4x4 Calgary map going up to a 6x6 kilometer. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's going to need to change to make that happen, because that wasn't the plan from that we were discussing in December. So whether that's more zombies on screen at one time, more loot, even just the little things here and there, more buildings, encounters. That's partially probably why they're delaying back to June. And like you were saying, they're not a big team. They're not a big team. They're not a AAA developer. So the fact that they're even pushing this thing out, what they started in 2017 on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And now we're all the way here. This game from 2017, what they were originally planning for it to be, as far as my knowledge goes, is completely different than the game we're getting now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they probably, they're not omniscient, They probably never expected for Dead Matter in a world map sense to kind of look the way it does now, because their idea was obviously like everybody else's, and it sounds weird because I just talked about how they're implementing the ideas, but there's also a sense of practicality and a realistic sense of what's achievable. And yes, you could achieve that scale of a zombie survival map. We've seen it in games like DayZ, But the issue is, and the issue that DayZ has, though I do love that game and you can have very unique experiences, is that the world, though it is a zombie game, it shouldn't feel dead. It needs to be alive, and it needs to be vibrant in a sense that it keeps you engaged, and it needs to have things to do and people to see and things to fight and places to scavenge. And you don't want copy and pasted buildings, no story, no interaction. A zombie game is more than just surviving by yourself, although Dead Matter will obviously have a single player aspect for those who are wondering.
Right. And I do have a dirty little secret. I've actually never played DayZ.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You mentioned that in one of my comments. You haven't.
Nope, never played it, man. I've played Scum. I've played a little bit of Miscreated, and just DayZ. I don't know. I looked at the price tag. I haven't gotten into it yet. And it just seems for me like one of those games where if you have no idea what you're doing, and for me to get into it now, I'm sure I could, but it just seems kind of complicated to get into now.
It's okay. So I bought the game whenever it first came out, man, like on Steam in like 2013-ish time frame. And it sucked. Like it was so bad. I spawned in and I took 3 steps and then my legs broke. And it was like that every single time. I stopped playing because I would break my legs and I would start crawling away or something, and then like my character would just lay on the ground and I would slowly get my ankles eaten by zombies. That was my experience. And so just to tell everybody who may still be upset about the delays, that's what you get. You get 5 years early access if you release a game too early. You get 5 years early access. It's been a while, I know that. It just left, like 2018. Jeez. But it released in the early access Steam Marketplace in 2013. It was there for a long time, man. And it's Bohemia studios in it, Bohemian Interactive.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, they're not like huge AAA, but they're like AA, at least.
Right. They're not a bunch of, just a few guys who made a mod for Arma. What was it? Arma 3? What was Dead Matter originally on Arma 3, I believe?
Yep.
So it started out there as just a mod. And then, Nick Z, the lead developer, is like, you know what? Let's turn this into a game. And then the progression that they've gone through, and I understand that they probably lost a few people. The only one I know for sure is, and I'm sure everybody else knows for sure, is Shirk.
Sure.
And that was a pretty big loss for the game. I've heard a lot about that, but I mean, I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts on that yet.
Yeah, I'm not. I remember whenever they first announced the delay last year.
Yeah,
I was like super bummed about it, and I was like, man, this sucks. And I think a lot of people were. But I mean, as time goes on and as they show more of the game, I think you kind of see more and more of a fleshed out idea of what they're doing. And so you don't get as upset whenever they announce a delay. And I think, like, also, because I was going in their Discord and, like, there was, like, a discussion going on the discussions tab of their Discord, and people were talking about, like, where are you from? Like, oh, I'm upset about them not keeping the timetable. People here are always on time. So they're talking about, like, cultural things about, like, of being on time, right? Whenever I was in the Marine Corps, we actually had to sit through this. It was like we had to give each other classes or whatever before we went to shift for whatever reason. And one of the people gave a class on cultural differences on timetables, and it came out that some stereotypes are true. So, like, white people generally are maybe late, but they prefer to be at least on time. But Hispanic people tend to have a more relaxed culture to where they'll just kind of show up. And there's nothing wrong with either one, but it just is. So I remember one of the devs piped up and they're like, well, you may be upset that we didn't hit the timetable that we said. However, that's not how it is here. So there are some cultural and, like, geographical things that take into consideration, I suppose, on that. I personally think that, if you give a timeline, you should try to stick with it. Right. But it is important to note that, these are approximations. They've never said it will for sure, I suppose. They'll always say, we'll see. The one thing that they did say about this next one is that there will not be another one. And they made that definitive statement in the roadmap. And in my mind, I'm like, you guys said you guys said in this one that you weren't expecting to make another delay. So I mean, how can you make a definitive statement about the future if this one you didn't expect within a month gap of being within it?
This is true.
That's just my thought.
I noticed a lot of that. No, I agree with you on that. As you know, we were both prior service members. I actually was in the Navy, and so I'm pretty familiar with hurry up and wait. Mm-hmm. A lot of just running around to different locations just to kind of wait there for nothing for a while till something happens.
Yes.
But yeah, so I was stationed in San Diego originally. I'm now in North Carolina, but that's where I met my wife, who happens to be a Mexican, a Puerto Rican. So she is Hispanic, and everything you were saying, she can confirm. She was nodding her head in the background as you were saying that. So you're not alone in the thought. But yeah. It was a great time, and I love my service, but getting to really enjoy what we're doing now. Things like this are just amazing to me. Getting to enjoy Dead Matter when it comes out, and a lot of other games that I've really been looking into, but definitely this one has really kind of got me thinking about, I guess, everything that the AAA guys are trying to accomplish, because that's the thing, is these guys keep posting and telling us, we're going to put out this, we're going to put out that, but at least they're putting things out. It's like none of the big guys, and I'm not expecting them to, but I mean, none of the big guys, whether they can or can't, are doing anything like that. I mean, you get trailers, you may get a couple things here and there on Twitter, but there's no dev logs all the time and constantly answering questions on Discord. And not only that, but adding things to the game that people are mentioning. There's just no connection like that we have with other developers. So I think that they're giving it everything they've got. And anybody that's kind of hating on, they're just going to push back again in June. It's like, okay, you know what? Maybe they might. I think, in my opinion, I don't think that we're gonna. I think that Nick wrote it himself in the devlog. He actually, if you go on the playdeadmatter.com and read the actual post that he wrote it down himself, and it's in writing in red. I don't think that they're going to push back again. I think they're going to give us the closed alpha. I think they could give us the closed alpha now. I just think that what he's trying to do is make sure the zombie AI is perfected, make sure it all looks good. There's a couple things that I saw in the recent devlog that I could see them wanting to brush up on a little bit, and particularly the glass. I don't know if you remember seeing the glass breaking, but little things like that.
Yeah. It just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, the guy getting disappeared. The dude, obviously everybody knows about the guy dropping his pants and it going through the map.
Dropped the pants through the world. There was also one where he went up a ladder and he kind of just glided up the ladder. There was no like ladder climbing animation.
Right.
So I mean, there's little quality of life issues, but there was somebody mentioned something in one of my YouTube comments that was pretty insightful. So it was about the pants dropping. It wasn't about the pants dropping through, but it was about that whole situation. So he said, and I'm paraphrasing, obviously, that Dead Matter was always talking about how it's a player versus environment with PvP aspects. There will be PvP, plenty of PvP. They talked about it in the devlog and the roadmap specifically about those areas where you can get from South Alberta to Calgary without going to the border. That are going to be those hotspot zones. But he said he's like they've always labeled it as it's PvP is going to be risky. You're going to be making a lot of noise. The zombies are going to be a threat. And the thing that he was upset about with the devlog was the fact that the holdup scenario. He was like, they're talking about how this is a PvE with PvP implements, but yet they showed more PvP and more of the same that we can, like the thing that they showed you come across in DayZ all the time. You come across holdups and people being jerks and telling you to take your clothes off and then killing you afterwards all the time in DayZ. So he was like, it just looked like a prettier version of that game.
I can see that. I can see why he would think that. Yeah. My opinion on the matter is I would say, this is what a lot of people were asking for. And they kind of got to go by majority in that point. If that's what everybody wants to see, and not only that, but we've never seen anything like that yet. True. We've seen a lot of other little things here and there with the game, inventory, UI, all that kind of stuff. We haven't really seen any actual PvP. Yeah. Not to mention, I feel like it also goes into when they get to show off PvP, they actually get to show off a couple other things at the same time. The way the guns function, the way people can try to run away, different, all sorts of different things I feel like go into that. So they're kind of showcasing a couple things when they showcase PvP.
Yeah. And they did show, obviously, you killing zombies, and they did show in the very beginning, not in the actual gameplay, but whenever it was probably a gunslinger up on the roof, and whenever he made a sound, and there was a zombie in the horde in front of him that went to the left and another one that went to the right. And so you're kind of able to see them already working on the surrounding technique that they apparently like to do. And I think it's important to note that no matter what devlog comes out, it's not going to hit every little nuance that everybody would like to see in the exact same way. They covered the main things. We got the gameplay, we got a little bit of PvP, even though there was some bugs, and also, whenever he died, his body desynced back to where, and rubber banded back to where he came from, which was really trippy. Yep. But it's things like that that are showing that it's playable. And it could very well be closed alpha ready right now, but I do believe what they say, that it is at a strong point for a pre-alpha setting. Right. There was one thing that somebody else mentioned. They were talking about, there was actually a few people who were really worried about the amount of fog in the map, not for playability's sake, even though a lot of people, including Big Fry, said that it reminded them of Silent Hill, which it kind of does.
Yeah, I saw his videos on that too. Yep.
Yeah, they were worried because they were like, are they trying to hide something? You know, like, you're trying to show off a big, beautiful, vibrant world. Why is almost every portion of gameplay that we see just shrouded in thick fog?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, I could be wrong, but my opinion on that would be exactly what you hinted at. I mean, it could be that a lot of the stuff they're showing is pre-alpha. I mean, now we know that we have till June for whatever to get wiped up and, you know, done correctly. But there's a high potential that they may not have everything the way they want it to look yet. And so they don't want to just show us video of it yet if it's not where they want it to be. It doesn't mean that it's not done. It doesn't mean that it's not, looking pretty good. But I'm pretty sure Nick Z he's a bit of a perfectionist from what I've seen so far.
Just a bit.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
So, you know, and he likes to plan accordingly. There's those little factors that may be why they're not showing it to us yet. And I feel the same about a lot of the devs, actually. Gunslinger, I've actually got to talk to quite a bit. Yeah. He's a bit of a perfectionist as well. He's working on a lot of the AI. And if you're watching this on my channel, or if you've seen any videos on my channel and you like the music in the background, all of that is from a playlist on Spotify. It's Synthwave for the Soul. That was actually given to me by Gunslinger. He's the one that showed me that himself. So pretty good playlist. I recommend listening to it. But yeah, I really think that there's a lot they still probably want to go over before June, and maybe that's one of the things is the background.
Yeah, probably. I don't think it's dishonest. I think it's smart, actually. Like, if you want to give the people what they want and actually show this gameplay and where it's at now, and you want to show off the in-world voice overlays and all that, and how your voice changes and all that stuff, and you need to be outside and inside. I mean, and the world's not ready yet. Just freaking show off an aspect of the game that also masks the areas that aren't ready yet. So just place a whole bunch of fog in there.
Right. Or do, you know, indoors, or show us the mine, which, I mean, the mine's great too. I plan on doing an entire video on that, because there's so many little things that if you were listening to Nomad explaining all the different stuff that was down there, which at some parts you can't really hear him very well. But there's a lot that's going to go into that, and that's a whole separate part of the map that you can go down into. And I like that we got how much of that we got to see in the gameplay. Not only that, but it seems like they're taking so much into the lore, not through just. I think it was the last devlog we listened to, where we got to hear a little bit about Duke Cartledge. Yeah, Duke Cartledge. That's his name. That's such a cool name. And not only that, but it's going to be. He's going to be like the radio guy, kind of like a Three Dog and Fallout 3 type thing, I'm guessing, where he kind of talks a lot about what's going on in the world, maybe, you know, little things that are happening as it's happening, which is kind of cool. Maybe stuff about factions. I'm very, very interested to hear more about him in particular.
Yeah, I do want to know, you know, his story. Like, where the heck did he come from? Why is he still alive? Where is he getting his information at? Will we come across, you know, like some like infield journalists or something, or gathering news for him? Because I know in Fallout 3 you have those little little radio bots that are wandering the wasteland getting information and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And the NPCs are going to be such a huge portion of this game. But like the best things have yet to come. Like the best things about this game we have yet to see, because the best things take longer to develop, though they aren't necessary for the gameplay to start. And so like the things that's going to set, like the train, that's exactly right. Like the evolutions of the factions, like that's a hugely complex system. Like, having no factions starting off whenever a server starts fresh, but having the factions kind of evolve or devolve depending on what happens. If you run out of food in a certain area, and there's still NPC survivors there, they'll turn into cannibals after a certain time if food is scarce. But that may not happen on another server. You could very well go to a server and there not be cannibals because they just happen to have farms, or they were smart with their canned goods or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. I've never heard of anything like that in the game. That's a huge thing, right? That's something that's really cool. Though I have heard mention of something like that being implemented to Dying Light 2. I don't know if you've kept up with that game a lot, but yeah, they're working on not only that, but it's more of a story-driven game. It's not a survival.
Well, I love the first one.
It was brilliant. For me, that game. In fact, that game's probably my favorite zombie game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really. I mean, Dead Island was great too.
Dead Island was similar. It's in the same fold.
It was very similar, but for me, just the fact that you could parkour. There was something about being able to parkour was great. I used to call it Assassin's Creed with zombies. That's what it reminded me.
It's essentially that. It's a zombified Assassin's Creed.
And so yeah, in the new one, basically every choice you make will change the world. Like say you give water to the civilians at one point that these guys were taken from them, it'll get those guys killed off. And it sounds like in Dead Matter they're going to try to pull off something like that, but a lot more organic.
Loosely, more organic, more loosely. Not because it's going to affect. It's not going to be. Well, it could be obviously, but generally speaking, if you're on a server with a bunch of people, they're going to have to make it to where everybody is affecting the story of the server. Right. However many people are allowed on there, like closed alpha, what was it, like 30 people or something for closed alpha per server or something like that. But it's going to be a smaller map, and they'll be spreading it out incrementally and adding more people to the servers. But you're going to be having 30 to 80 to however many people eventually, all directly affecting the server, the life, the food, like electricity. It's all going to be like player driven and player controlled. So it's going to be super. I can only imagine how complex that system is to set up. My head hurts even thinking about how you even go about making that, because it's so intricate. And I don't know, props to them, because that is an ambitious endeavor. I think they can do it. They wouldn't have said it if they couldn't do it. They're very aware of their capabilities.
Oh yeah, no, I think they can do it too, because they're working on that as degradation. So basically, how you'll have like a fence in your backyard, and it'll start to break in areas over time. I imagine that parts of the city will start to be overgrown, like you'd see in like I Am Legend type thing, something like that, which is super cool too. They've also, the big one I think was that the grid will start to fail, and that's a big part of the game. I think I really want to hear a lot more about too. For me, that's the next thing I want to hear a lot about. Is I'm very, I wouldn't say confused, but I guess what the plan is with everybody can have their own generator, but at the same time you might not even need a generator, because if you get control of a grid and you get it started back up, you can power like a whole block.
Yeah, via like a power plant, I guess, or something.
Yeah. And even be in control. So, I mean, like, say, like, you got other people trying to live in the area, and they're like, we need power. That could make for some very interesting gameplay. I mean, you could literally be very generous.
The RP possibilities is going to be insane.
A lot of RP for sure. And for those that are, I guess, what is the word I'm looking for? Don't understand gaming terminology, that's role playing.
You stinking nerds don't know about gaming lingo.
Right. Come on, guys.
Get off the page. Go. I'm just kidding. Please stay.
Yeah, please stay.
Please stay.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe. Thank you.
But yeah, I think there's so much that they're trying to accomplish, and the thing is even at early access, like you said, we're probably not going to see all of it. It's going to have to develop over time. But the fact of everything how far they've come so far, shows that once they drop the game, they're going to continue to make it better and better and better.
They will. The one thing that I would like to see in terms of the zombies is it's obvious, they already know about it. It seems weightless, right? Like the guns, they added the inertia. There's like weight and feel to it. But whenever you shoot a player or a zombie, they just like turn into like minus 50 pounds and they float off into the atmosphere somewhere.
Yeah,
and like that,
or their arm jacks up, and
and they just like freeze in a location or something like that. Like it would be, I would love, by the time maybe the next devlog comes out, whenever that is, maybe sometime before the closed alpha, I would assume.
Oh yeah,
like just add some like weight and momentum to them, and not have it like a plus 1000% ragdoll effect going on there, which I'm not talking about like the desync issues, that's a whole nother issue, but just, like them just their bodies just folding over each other if they just fall. Adding some, looks, they got the impact going with the bullets. I noticed that the zombies actually, like, their bodies respond to being hit by a bullet, which is pretty dope.
Oh yeah.
Like, I noticed that their shoulders will jerk back if they get shot in the shoulder or something like that. It's very small, but it's noticeable enough to be a certain level of immersive, which is nice. But that's one thing that I would like to see.
I'd like to see that with the zombies.
Yeah.
I would also like to see the dismemberment that we've been told about.
Yeah.
So that's another part of the zombies that
we saw it. We saw it on the assets that they were showing off.
Yep.
That would be nice to see, but I mean, you start looking at all this. I mean, the zombies are far from being done. The Gunslinger's doing great with the AI on how they're acting, but in terms of animations and in terms of like destruction to the body, and then the ragdoll, I mean, yeah, they got a long ways to go for that. So I mean, it's not ready yet. Because what's been described in the previous devlogs, it's just, it works in the controlled setting, which is where they show it off at, but in the actual like world itself, on a larger scale, it doesn't work yet. From what I'm seeing yet, and that's not a bash at the game, but that's just an observation.
Right, and in the new devlog, I guess they typed up on their page at least, he mentioned that a part of them pushing back is they want to make it, now that we're going to have bigger maps, that they can have hundreds, not 100, hundreds of zombies in hordes.
That's
which for me is, I have never seen that in a game. That's another part of it too. Never seen it. Hundreds of zombies in a horde. I mean, maybe like, 50, 60.
Yeah, the most I've ever seen was like, the most I've ever seen was honestly, I guess the most I've ever seen would be Left 4 Dead, because they just pile in there, and that was probably like 50. Yeah, but then I mean, in a similar setting to that would be Dead Matter would be DayZ, but even then, the most I've ever been able to get a hold of is like maybe like 30, and that was scary enough. That was scary enough.
No kidding.
Now you're telling me that you can have hundreds of flipping zombies that are all like intelligent, and if you have like a group of 5 people, that huge horde is going to split off into 5 smaller groups and chase us individually and surround us and just, oh my god, and then they'll kill you, and you'll respawn within like a click or so, a kilometer or so of your body, which will then turn into a zombie because it got killed by zombies, and you're going to see a whole bunch of these default, like, civilian-looking zombies, and you're going to have the opportunity to go back to that horde, see your decked-out, military-geared zombie walking around in the middle of the horde, and you have to think, how am I going to get my gear back from my own dead body who's now a zombie?
How am I going to do this? Right. Well, I think that I've heard a little bit of mention of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm making this up. I really don't know. But I feel like I've heard that there may be some way to distract zombies, which I think is going to be a major part of it. Oh, there is.
You're not making it up.
Awesome. Good.
Don't worry. Your integrity is intact.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can throw stuff. You can throw you can throw rocks. You can shoot the shotgun flares. You can use a fire alarm. To distract zombies or draw zombies in if like somebody goes into a building and you like the police station and you're like, oh man, I want the loot in there, so you can go in there and turn on the fire alarm and then run back out and just wait for all chaos to break out.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that'd be wild. Or the fact of I don't know if you saw, I had a video. Some of my videos, what I'll do is kind of take an idea that one of the viewers left in the comments, and then I'll talk about it. And in one of my videos, man, this guy had a killer idea. He talked about basically if you were able to lure zombies into the back of, like, say, a box truck or something like that, and then say you know where another player's base is that you just you don't like that guy, you hate him. He's one of those neighbors. He's like Ned Flanders. You just really don't want what I mean?
You don't like Ned Flanders.
No, we don't know. You don't like howdly doodly. No, we don't.
Nope, you're dead.
So you're dead. So you drive the zombies over to his place, open up the back, and let them all flood into his area. I was like, man, that would be a super cool thing to be able to do. I don't know if you could do it, but you might. I mean, I don't know if you can lure them. Then probably.
Yeah, that was one of the cooler things I saw on the show The Walking Dead whenever they were have you ever seen that?
Yes, that's what we were talking about when me and him were discussing it. Yes.
Dude, it was so whenever I saw that come into action, whenever was it Granbury or whatever the town was?
Yep.
And they just drove that stinking like 2 or 3 vans, box cars or box trucks into the prison yard, and they just unleashed all the zombies. I was like, bro, what what an alpha move, bro. That was so good.
Oh, the governor was probably one of the better bad guys of the show for sure.
I appreciate he had depth.
He did. He had a lot of depth because it wasn't just like he was just a bad guy. He had a lot of story behind why he was the way he was, which a lot of the bad guys on the show did. But yeah, I liked him. I mean, obviously, it's really hard to beat Negan as a top villain for the show, just because of for me because of Glenn's death. Oh well, spoilers. Sorry,
it's been out for like years. I mean, you're good. Enough, right? Yeah, if they haven't seen it, it's their fault. If they have been avoiding that show for so long that they hear a spoiler from a episode on 2 small YouTubers about a game that's not even related, then you know what? They deserve for it to be spoiled.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah. That, I mean, for me, yeah, that was a huge show, and that's one of the reasons I probably got into zombies back in the day. And I don't know if you've heard of, I'm sure you have. He's a big YouTuber now, but ZMZ Reloaded, I always watched for like a really long time. And he's actually, if anybody else watches ZMZ Reloaded, he's a partner, isn't he? The guy that does all. He's a partner, and they mentioned in the last devlog, he's going to be the voicing of some of the zombies.
That's right.
Which is
there was a few other ones as well, but I know that he was mentioned as well. I'm
not sure of all their names, but I know the guy that does Dead Matter News. He's one of the other guys that's doing the voices, and I can't remember. There was a third one. I can't remember what it was.
He kind of dropped off the grid there for his YouTube videos. I used to go to him a lot for.
He did.
And this isn't once again just an observation.
Right.
It was before. I don't know if you were here present for this, making videos or not about Dead Matter, but it used to be we could make videos about Dead Matter and use information from any of the channel topics, sneak peek, Backerland, all that. There was no rule against it, and so that's where he was getting a lot of his information from.
Oh wow!
That didn't affect me at all because I was making topical videos about I would just vehicles or weapons or factions, so that didn't affect me at all. But they actually sent out sent out a message to all the content creators that he knew about, and he was like, "Yeah, you can't do that anymore because we're not ready to show it off yet."
Right. Yeah.
But he kind of. He dropped off a little bit after that kind of NDA, I suppose, released a bit. But he still makes good videos whenever they do come out. I still enjoy watching his stuff.
Absolutely.
Because everyone has different insights. There's several
guys. And that's what I've noticed, is you could watch all, because that's what I do. I've been watching other people's videos on Dead Matter just to kind of get an idea for next videos and stuff like that. So I watch you, of course. I watch Things with Ali. I watch a little bit of Dead Matter News, Big Fry sometimes.
Yep.
I think Merp TV has done a couple videos. So I'm sure I've watched those. I know I see him in the Discord every now and then. He was one of the guys that were, and this is just an opinion once again, that was really begging for the new update to come out like several times, and they were like, "All right, relax." I remember that.
Yeah, but I always, I don't know about you, but in my comment sections on YouTube, dude, I don't know what it is, but the people who have been banned just flock to my channel. They flock to it. Dude. Like, I'm not going to say almost every video, but very well it may be, because I've actually had to go into my YouTube settings and enter their username to block people from seeing their comments because they're just so harassing about it. Like, they will not. They spam all caps. Like, this game is a scam. You're spreading lies and indecency. And I'm just like, no, bro, I am not.
No.
Why are you saying this? And then every time they're like, I have gotten banned for speaking out against their lies and ill conceptions. And I was like, no, you got banned for being a jerk and for not stopping when they told you to stop. That's why you got banned. I mean, I see critical critique in their Discord every single day. But it's only whenever it gets super personal or out of hand or just not constructive at all is whenever they finally tell you to just chill. And if you don't, then you're probably going to get suspended temporarily or banned temporarily or just banned altogether like they did. But it's always amazing that they go out of their way to find Dead Matter videos and then they just harass the YouTube creator for spreading out like scams.
Yeah, you're not alone. I mean, literally, my very first video I did, I was, because I didn't know what was going on. I literally got in and I was like, man, this looks like a great game. Let me make my little YouTube video on the new game that I'm going to cover. And then like 3 or 4 of the comments were like, quit promoting this game. This game is a lie. It's all. I was like, look, man, I was like, first of all, I mean, if you really pay attention to this stuff, and there are games that have been scams. There absolutely are.
Yeah.
There's Steam games that, and it's happened a couple times, and it was pretty good scams. They did a really good job at really making people think it was legit. But this is not one of those cases. I mean, I don't know how to explain it any better.
You don't talk with your community this much and show so much of the video game and development progress if it's a scam, because that opens yourself up to critique.
Yeah. One of the big ones is the gameplay they've shown, because I can't remember the name of the game. It's on the top of my head, but everybody made YouTube videos about it because it literally, they wouldn't let out gameplay. And then finally they gave everybody gameplay and it was just a truck driving on a desert road. Like nothing.
Oh,
it was nothing.
Man.
You know what I'm talking
about? Was it like New Life or something like that?
New Life, where basically you go to the new town and everybody gets, some people
you get cops, occupation or something like that. It's supposed to be an R-play like lifestyle kind of a game. I remember because Big Fry covered it and he was hopeful about it, but then they showed the gameplay and he was like, this is absolute trash. Yeah,
I'm out.
Yeah.
I think he was the video that I saw on it where he was talking.
No, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's essentially it.
And so that this is obviously not the case with this game. And I think that a lot of people have actually come around. So when I first started making videos, I think I had more of those comments. But now, as we've gotten more updates, especially the last one, the very last 2 videos I put out, I had, I think, one person comment about, this game's going to get pushed back again. One of those type of comments, which I mean, I get those every single time. But I only had one. And then I mentioned to him, it's like, I know I've talked to this guy several times. I'm like, look, it's going to happen. Things like this are going to happen with a game where it's an indie game. They don't have a set release date like you would with like a AAA game. If we're talking about it, might as well. Fallout 76. Mm-hmm. They had a date that they had to stick to. They don't have a choice to push it back because of all these little things. This guy's giving us this money, this thing, all those little things that our indie developers here with Quantum Integrity Softwares, which is, by the way, anybody who doesn't know, the guys who are making the game, Dead Matter, they don't have that. They don't have any of the sponsors and all that other stuff that's going on where they can't push it back if it's not ready yet. Because if you think that it doesn't need to get, just release it in the state it's in. I've heard that a couple times too. Just release it how it is now. It's like anybody who thinks that, go talk to anybody that played Fallout 76 on day one. I was one of those people. That was the first game that I covered actually on my channel.
I'm sorry.
So, I got thrown into the mix of that, and everybody was mad at me for making videos on it. I mean, my videos did pretty well because most of the videos I did were talking about the glitches and stuff. Literally, that's what made my YouTube channel kind of get to where it's at now, is talking about all the glitches and the duplications and all sorts of great. They got into the developer room. Some guys,
I can't believe that, man.
Found out how to hack in there, which was nuts. You just, that doesn't happen in an online game like that.
Yeah, it happens in single player games. I remember whenever I was a kid playing Morrowind or Oblivion, you had little cheat codes you could enter to get into the developer room, and it was the coolest flipping thing I've ever experienced. It was so magical.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Oh yeah. No, I remember people talking about doing that, especially on Oblivion. I know that exact cheat you're talking about.
Oh man, it was so cool.
But yeah, so this is it's a completely different ball game when it comes to indie developers like this. And if they're doing it, it's for a reason. I mean, period.
Yeah,
they've given me no reason to really think that they're just scamming us, and they're just going to keep pushing it out indefinitely and just keep reaping money. They've given me no reason to think that.
No, absolutely no reason. And honestly, if you're looking at the amount of money people have made on Kickstarter, these guys have made what was it, like 280,000 or something like that?
Yeah, it was like 280, I think. Yeah.
Which, yeah, you'd be like, wow, that's a lot. But then you put on 19 people's salaries. A lot of that goes away for just a year, and these people have been working on this game for approximately 3.5. So that they're not taking the money and running because there wasn't really that much money to even split up. And you can't deny that they've put money into the game because things are changing and improving. As simple as the curtain. You remember seeing the curtain in the new devlog 10? In the older ones, it was literally just you press E or F or whatever the action button is. It opens and closes, and it was just it was static.
I remember seeing that.
But now it's a legit physics-based curtain. I've never been more excited to talk about a stinking curtain than now. Because it has such huge implications on gameplays because of the barricading system. New topic to talk about, barricading. What do you think about it?
I mean, the fact that there's going to be tiers to it blows my mind. I think that that's super cool that it's not just going to be, you get some sticks, and then you put the sticks here with a rock, and then you
get some nails and stuff in the...
Yeah, and you get some nails. There's going to be, the newspaper thing I think is a really cool idea.
So I didn't even think about it. It was genius.
It's such a cool idea. Nobody's done that before.
It was genius. It blew my mind whenever I saw that.
I mean, a lot of people are saying it's very similar to being like a 3D Project Zomboid, which I have played that, and that's a fantastic game if anybody hasn't played it yet.
It's hard to get into because it does not hold your hand very much.
No, that first part of the game, because I had no idea myself into that first part of the game is you're in the house and then all of a sudden it's just like run and then there's zombies everywhere.
And every game opens up, it's like, this is the story of how you died. I'm like, wow, thank you. And it's right every time. This is how I die.
Yep.
But
barricades are, I think, going to get more and more intense, and more information is going to come out as we go along. The big thing before we wrap up or do anything like that, I really wanted to talk a little bit more about the map. I think we both made videos on it, but I mean, the fact that they've opened it up to be now being a 16-kilometer wide instance to the next map, I think is awesome. That is awesome. No kidding.
Huge. Like, does that not solve the problem? There was somebody in my comment section who was like, I can just imagine somebody just patrolling up and down the kilometers. I was like, are you kidding me?
Oh, really,
bro? Are you kidding me? They're going to spend the time. They're going to spend the time driving 32 kilometers round trip over and over again in hopes of finding somebody at some point along that huge stretch of land that's coming across right in front of them. There is no way you can convince me that if that does happen, they're going to catch anybody. There's no way.
There's no way they're going to do that.
No.
The only time that you're going to get PvP in those situations is, I've actually pulled it up right here just because I couldn't remember for a second, but what Nick said in the devlog, where there's going to be a handful of points scattered around the southern Alberta map that you can use to travel to Calgary.
Yeah.
These will be known to players, and if you're looking for a fight, this is the potentially lucrative option for you, and of course, plan accordingly. That's where the PvP will probably happen. And I am wondering what he means by that, whether it's like a train.
Yeah,
like
I'm thinking subway station.
Subway, yeah.
You imagine freaking PvP in a Canadian subway station, man. That would be...
Never even thought about it before in my life, but now I am.
Oh, that'd be dope. Oh my gosh, that'd be cool. I mean, it would be, right? With the trains that's supposed to be going through all over the places.
Yeah, I mean, well, at some point it's going to be functional.
Or
could potentially be a base.
The airfield, because there's going to be planes and helis.
True.
So, I mean, that could be a place where you could go to, quote unquote, fly to Calgary or vice versa. Oh, man, that would be dope. And what if? Okay, so, like, what, you know how hospitals have, like, the roof helicopter pads and stuff like that? You think you'd be able to land on top of those and make, like, a small base on top of those? Because they were talking to that's not out of the question, because they even said they're trying to make skyscrapers playable, so why not a hospital, right?
Yeah, which now I want to get into that here in a second, but yeah, having a helicopter at your base on like a helipad like that would be nuts,
bro.
It would be nuts, because you could that would be such an easy way to extract from Calgary. I mean, think about it. Like you just said, if you are able to fly, because they've already announced now in the last devlog, which by the way was huge for me too.
Huge.
That you can take your vehicle across, which is a really important question.
Because there was questions about that.
Yeah, that was my biggest question. It's one of the questions I asked in Discord is, can you drive your vehicle across? Because I plan on I'm probably going to play several different characters. From the looks of how this game is, there's no way I can just play as one character style. So one of my characters is going to be Nomad. I'm going to I'm going to probably ride around in a camper, go on hunting trips, stuff like that, which we're definitely going to have to make videos about.
Hell yeah.
And that'd be, hunting trips with the boys. And then
Saturdays for the boys.
Dude, oh my God. I don't know if you've seen any of my old videos.
Yeah.
But when I still said that. Okay, now I'm player 2 now. So player 2 now says you can take like a helicopter and land it on like a skyscraper or something like that, and then try, go down throughout the skyscraper, get all your loot, take it back up into your helicopter, fly back over to your helipad at the hospital. That's awesome. That's a
chills.
great idea.
I'm getting chills.
Right? That's pretty solid.
Gosh, dude, that would be... and you can't say that. It's not realistic, because there are people nowadays who have saved crashing aircraft because they played flight simulator games, with no prior flight instructions. So, I mean, there's people nowadays with zero skill in flying legitimate aircrafts, and yet they're still able to kind of, like, understand the basics of maneuvering it. Like, it would be possible to either create your character to have that predisposition or prior occupation or whatever else, that mechanical capability, or just if it was a real life event, you could totally train yourself and read up on flying a little tiny 2-person plane or a little 1-person heli.
Absolutely.
But man, I love. I'm really just the possibilities, man. The possibilities.
There's so many possibilities
of how to extract loot, of how to player interactions, factions. I would say in terms of roleplay that the best roleplay games we have today are not roleplay games.
That's fair.
But games who are designed to be roleplay games are usually scams.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the big thing that Todd Howard said.
Freaking Howard.
Yeah, it just works, man. It just works.
It's flawless.
That's what he said. He said it would work, and that it just works. That even if we have no NPCs, the players will now be the NPCs. And every time that games have given that a try, it never works. It doesn't. It never works. Unfortunately. Yeah, because that if one game can pull it off, and this. We might have our hands into something that might be that game. I don't know. We could have ourselves there.
Who knows, man? I mean, it's just either way. No matter what, we're just gonna have to wait and see as more information comes to light. But it doesn't hurt in speculating over the things that have already been revealed to us by the developers.
That's a great point. I mean, and that's all that really this video is, I think, for our viewers, which I guess I'd like to kind of talk to you guys a bit now. Everybody that's, viewing this, whether you're on Pathfinder's channel or mine, Player 2's channel, I really, and I think I'm probably speaking for both of us when I say, let us know if you guys would like us to do more of these. Either comment below. I'll actually leave a poll on the screen now. If you guys want to see that up on my channel, let us know, yes or no. Do you guys want us to do more of these? I can say myself that I've really enjoyed this. I like talking about Dead Matter. It's one of my favorite things, favorite pastimes as of now. And I'm sure Pathfinder feels the same way.
This is quite a hassle for me. I'm just kidding. It's great. I have thoroughly enjoyed this almost hour talking about it and talking about it with you.
Yeah.
You're a very enjoyable person, I have to say.
Yeah, you too, man. This is, for those who don't know, this is our first con. We've literally, for this, we really didn't even plan anything. We kind of just said, yeah, let's riff it and kind of see what happens, and just talk about all the new updates and what's going on with the game and how we feel about it. I think it was a pretty good discussion. I've really enjoyed this discussion. I think we did a good job talking about all the major points. Like I said, if anybody has either, if you want us to do more videos, or if you have any suggestions for us to talk about in another podcast style video like this, let us know in the comments below. I think something I would recommend to do.
Yeah, definitely let us know. He's big on, you're big on Twitter. If you could probably hit him up on Twitter DMs or whatever else, if you don't have Discord, or if you're just not on YouTube at the moment, but you have Twitter going on, DM either of us. I'm on there as well. But yeah, ask the questions, answer the poll. I'll do a poll as well, for my viewers. And I have a feeling that they'll request another video like this, because I think it's informational. I think it's fun. I think it's a good way to just spitball possible ideas and give a fair critique of what we've seen so far.
Right. And I think that's it. I think, and I could probably even speak, at least from my viewers, that from what I've noticed is we just like talking about the game. It might even be stuff that we've already talked about, heard about, seen videos about, but we just can't get enough of it. And that's where I'm at. It's just a passion for sure.
It's a passion. We're passionate men talking about passionate things made by other passionate men and other women.
That's all. Yeah, or women.
It's passionate Pathfinder and passionate player. This is the PP podcast.
The PP podcast.
Player Pathfinder podcast. The Triple P.
The PP podcast. Triple P. Getting little sneaky peekies at the new updates on
little cheeky breaky peekies.
Sneaky peekies. Oh my gosh, we're just going to ramble now.
Okay, so this is it. This is the end of this discussion. If you guys like scare survival and scavenging, like I always say, consider hitting that subscribe button to me and Player 2 here. Sharing this discussion with anybody that you think might enjoy it. And Player 2, any last comments?
Yeah. Once again, to piggyback off of what he said, sorry, it's a military term.
Oh my gosh.
I know how many times did you hear that?
Oh my god.
Just to piggyback off what Chief said, which I guess what Sarge said. Yeah, what First Sarge said. But no, just to piggyback off that, I really enjoyed the conversation. I think that everybody will probably enjoy this video. If you guys do have any further questions, suggestions, or want to see more of it, just let us know down in the comments below on each of our videos. And if you like Dead Matter content, if this is something that tickles your whiskers, then consider subscribing to both of our channels. We both, you like that one? We both cover this channel religiously. This game religiously. This channel, of course, we cover our own channel.
That's right.
So check us out, and let us know if you guys have any questions. And I think that's about it.
That is about it. So until we keep rambling on,
see
you guys in the next videos. Bye bye.
See you guys later.